Alright, welcome back. We're going to be going over my after-action review of the third annual Light Fighter Challenge. That was hosted by Lodestone Training and Consulting. And we're going to start with Friday night. We're going to talk about some things that we did on Friday night and Saturday. And obviously, Saturday was the day of the event. We're going to talk about the gear that worked well for me, that I really liked. Some gear that didn't work and some lessons that I learned, and then we'll go over the results that I got from this. I don't have any good footage or pictures or anything like that from the actual Light Fighter Challenge. The weather conditions weren't really good for holding my phone out. It was extremely cold. It rained the entire time. I had no dexterity, so I didn't get any footage. All the pictures that you're going to see here from the event are from a buddy of mine who I met there who sent some photos to me for me to share. So thank you to you know who you are. Appreciate it. All right. So we'll start with Friday night. So we show up, check in. We had the option to camp overnight, and I met up with actually a lot of guys who are from the same county that I live in, and we all kind of ended up setting up our tents near each other and had a nice little campfire, drank some beer, smoked some cigars, ate some food, and it ended up being really awesome. They were extremely friendly, kind of welcomed me into their group, and you know that's one of the main reasons why we like to go to these types of events, is because you meet people who you can build a community together with. So that was awesome. And then we start to feel the temperature dropped. Later on in the evening, it got real cold overnight, and then it just poured rain. Pouring rain. We woke up Saturday morning with probably, I don't know, some of the tire tracks that left ruts probably had 2 inches of water in them. So extremely wet, extremely cold that morning when we woke up. So I got up at around 6:30 a.m. and then the start point time for the ruck march was about 7:10. They pushed it back so we had a little bit more daylight. With the heavy cloud cover, it really kind of impeded everybody's visibility. So we did the ruck march. It was 8 miles. First half was kind of on some gravel roads, and then the second half led us into some pretty tight and wet back trails. And then there was an absolute murderous hill. I have no idea the distance of this hill or the elevation gain, but it was so long and so steep that me in my not so well physical shape could only go about 4 or 5 steps before I needed to stop because my legs were burned out. All right, so we finished the ruck march. I was kind of in the middle of the pack, so I finished in I think a respectable amount of time. Then we went right into rifle. Let me back up actually. Before rifle, I stopped to change my socks and then added another layer because I figured I wasn't going to be moving. I was going to start getting cold. So I added a layer, which was my BDU top. So we did rifle. Rifle was 20 shots. We shot from 4 different positions. It was an old car out in the range. And the targets were about 35 feet away, maybe. I have no idea. Or not idea. About 30 feet away. And we shot 5 shots over the trunk, 5 shots over the roof, 5 shots through the passenger compartment, and then 5 shots over the hood. And then after that, we went over to the spear throw. So I guess every year they have some sort of like melee weapon that you have to throw. The past 2 years, it's been you have to throw an axe. This year it was like these pig spears. So threw 3 spears at a hay bale that was, I don't know, 15 feet away, pretty close. That was cool. I've never really thrown a javelin like that before, so a fun experience. And then we went into what was probably the most, the highest attrition station was the fire building station. You show up there and there's a little hole in the ground, and you got to build a fire. Backing up a little bit, when you checked in, they gave you like an 18-inch piece of 2x4 with 2 strike anywhere matches, a tea candle, and some like paraffin wax. and that was your fire starting kit. That's what you had to build the fire with. So you had to use your fixed blade knife to process down the wood into burnable pieces, and then you had to light a fire inside this pit, and then had to burn, or you had to make a flame that was big enough to burn a piece of paracord, and half that was strung across your hole. So the rules were you had to use the 2 matches, but if you had your own striking surface, like your own matchbox striking surface, you could use that. But you couldn't use your own matches. You couldn't use a lighter or a ferro rod or anything like that. So I process down my wood. I get into small pieces, and I use 1 match on my own striking surface. On the packing list, there was, bring matches. So I had one of those little waterproof match container holder things, and on the side was a striking surface. So lit my tea candle at the bottom of the hole, keeping it out of the wind, and then I was able to build my fire on top of that tea candle. Dripped in some paraffin wax in there, and then got my fire lit and burned my cord. So that was that station. Then we had to hike back up this super big hill, and we get up to what they call the commando crawl, and it's basically like this 2-inch diameter rope that's strung between 2 trees, and you have to either monkey crawl underneath it or lay on top and balance yourself and shimmy your way across. So that was a fun station. And then I think we went to land nav next. They basically give you an azimuth. You had to shoot your azimuth and then walk into the woods and go find an orange orienteering point that has those punch card things in there. So you had to come back with your punch, or with the correct punch for your azimuth. Did that. And then they had a crossbow station. It's really cool, old style-y crossbow. They had to gently use a trigger and shoot your crossbow at a hay bale target that was probably 10 feet away. I think he had 2 or 3 shots. That was cool. I'd never shot a crossbow before. Then there was a lock picking station. So the company that hosts this event does a lot of seminar style classes, and one of them is a defense against lock picking, which I don't. I mean, yeah, it's important to learn how to pick locks. I don't know how you defend against a lock picking, but anyway, so they had a lock picking station there. I didn't pick any locks because a lock pick wasn't on a packing list. So, well, whatever. They'll say, well, you should be prepared for anything. Well, you're absolutely right, but we're in the middle of the Pennsylvania woods. I'm not too worried about bringing the lock picking kit into the woods. All right. And then the last was you had to disassemble and reassemble your rifle blindfolded. And those were the stations. The stations were on about a 2-mile loop. You had to follow trail markers to get to each station. And yeah, so all in all, we did about 10 miles of walking with your ruck and all your equipment. All right, so let's get into the gear that I used that was really came in good handing, right? So first off was my rifle. My rifle is nothing special. I don't have a Gucci rifle. I have a mil-spec M&P 15T, chambered in 5.56. It's a 16-inch barrel, and I had a $110 Romeo 5 red dot on top, and I shot 20 out of 20. And I was only one of 4 people in the whole competition of about 50 or so to land no misses. Didn't have any misses. What else was great? I used my medium ruck, U.S. Army medium ruck. That worked out great. It was very comfortable on my back. I think in the future I would like to upgrade to something that can get all that weight a little bit closer to my back and not so kind of out away from myself, but it worked out great. I didn't have any issues with it. Very comfortable, easy to cinch down when I ran the downhills in the ruck. So that was good. My Solomon boots. I actually didn't use the boots that I had in the video. I upgraded and got some Solomon Quest Forces. I think they're like a upgraded version. still waterproof and still very comfortable. Um, my feet were dry the entire time. We were walking through some pretty big puddles. Um, I tried my best to avoid them and keep my feet dry because I hate wet feet. I absolutely hate it. Um, but my boots and my socks along with them, my feet were dry and warm the entire time, very comfortable. The pants, the Fjallraven Keb trekking trousers, absolutely in like the best piece of gear. Absolutely, that's probably one of the best purchases I've made, gear purchases I've ever made, is these Fjallraven pants. I should do a review on them later on. Anyway, the pants. Oh yeah, I use my own compass for the land nav portion. Um, they gave you, if you didn't bring a compass, they gave you a like a military Lanzetta compass. I use my own. I got a, it worked fine. And then my knife that I used was great. Didn't have any problems processing down the wood. And then I actually switched out my chest rig. So I know in the video I had kind of that larger sustainment type chest rig with lots of different pouches. Last minute game day decision, almost game day decision, I swapped it out for my Defense Mechanisms micro style chest rig. Really glad I did that because I realized toward the end of my preparations that I was way overpacked for what was really going to be needed for the challenge. Now, if this was like a real scenario, yeah, I'm gonna bring a larger chest rig, but like I couldn't carry mags for obvious reasons. They don't want you walking around the range with live ammo, so I didn't have to worry about carrying mags. I didn't have to worry about carrying like all the other stuff that I had in there. In that micro rig, I really just put my compass and my headlamp and I think like my water treatment kit, my map markers, some pens, a notepad, and then obviously I had my IFAK in there too. So, oh, and then I used instead of having that Nalgene bottle, which I had in my other rig, is I swapped it out for a Gatorade bottle, which fit in like this old Condor radio pouch that I'd gotten years ago. It's a perfect pouch for a Gatorade bottle, so I had that with me too. Didn't end up drinking it. Probably should have, but yeah, I didn't drink it. All right, and then some lessons learned. I was definitely not prepared for the cold. It's pretty irresponsible of me, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself, a little bit embarrassed. I don't know why I would have thought being north of Pittsburgh in the middle of October was going to be fine. Like, oh yeah, I knew it was going to rain. Like, yeah, it's just rain. We've had weather down here that's been in the 60s and 70s where I live. It shouldn't be any different. Well, you get it way up north in those mountains above Pittsburgh, the freaking temperature drops, man. So I was not prepared for the cold. I was cold the night before sleeping, and I was cold the entire day, shivering the whole time. Lost that dexterity in my hands when I'm trying to do some of these fine tasks like processing down wood. I'm trying not to slice my fingers open. So I really should have been more responsible and had another insulating layer underneath my rain jacket. So lesson learned. And loss of dexterity. Oh yeah, and then overall, like, it can just get better with my stamina and my overall physical fitness. I'm not in like terrible shape, but I definitely kind of lost that endurance bit of me. Going up that hill was absolutely brutal. That was kind of where I really realized, like, okay, I'm gassed out, and I had to go 3, 4, 5 steps and then stop, and then sit there for 30 seconds and go 4 or 5 steps more, stop. So got to work on that stamina. All right, and then the results. My results, I finished in the middle of the pack for the ruck march, which is respectable. I mean, some guys were really taking it seriously. Some guys had like super minimalistic ruck. Some guy had like a Go ruck, which like with a weighted plate in there. I had a full-on patrol loadout in mine. So they all finished way ahead of me. One of the guys in my group that I met down there, he's freaking tall, and he was way ahead of me the whole time. So I finished in the middle of the pack. I was okay with that result. I didn't have any misses on my shooting. I shot 20 out of 20 in the bullseye. It took me about 13 minutes to start my fire, and then all the other stations were a pass-fail. So I passed all the other stations, and my overall placement in the whole challenge was.
Are you shitting me? Wait. Say that first name.
Mark, number 35?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding? What?
Nice.
Was first place. I somehow took home first place out of everybody. And what it really came down to, I was one of 4 guys to shoot 20 out of 20, so that was cool. I was top 4 there. But what got me the gold medal was the spear throw. I was the only person to land 3 out of 3 spear throws. Everybody else would get like 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 or no hits. I was the only one to get all 3, so that's cool. I mean, to me that kind of seemed like luck. Like I didn't train to throw a spear, but yeah, I just threw it and it stuck. So good for me. Anyway, that's my after action of Light Fighter. It was great. I'm absolutely going to do it again next year. And if you're thinking about doing anything like that, I would say go do it. If you're hemming and hawing or you're on the fence about it, go do it. It's a great opportunity for you to discover where your weaknesses are. Some people, their weaknesses was mental. You know, the ruck really got them down. Some of them was for like 80% of everybody there. It was fire building apparently, but that's a whole other side issue that I'm not going to get into. For me, it was like, man, I went in there a little cocky, thinking, nah, it's just rain. I can walk in the rain. It's fine. But when you have 12-mile-an-hour sustained winds and rain, and you're up in elevation, and the high temperature of the day is 43 degrees, or maybe it was 40. I think it was 45. A little wicking layer and a rain jacket just isn't enough. So yeah, that was a humbling moment for me. But yeah, so like find your weaknesses, and the best place to do that is in a really controlled environment like the Light Fighter Challenge. So thank you for putting the whole thing together, Lodestone. You guys are awesome. Mossy Forge, thank you so much for that beautiful piece of art. Pretty much it is. So part of the first place prize is I got this beautiful hand forged axe, and it's like a throwing axe, gorgeous hickory handle on it. And I messaged the guy from Mossy Forge. I was like, hey, like, I don't know if I should put this on my mantle or like take it out to the woods with me. And he was like, it's battle ready or it's mantle ready. Like whatever you want to do is the right thing for that axe. So I really maybe some light cutting with it, but to me that's more of a trophy and a prize piece than it is an actual tool, even though it could be. And thanks to Aimpoint. Aimpoint was one of the sponsors of this event. For what I got an Aimpoint Duty RDS red dot from Aimpoint as a prize for being one of the top 4 shooters. We had the choice between optics from Aimpoint or body armor from I forget the name of them. But yeah, so I got so thank you Aimpoint for that really cool optic. That's now the nicest optic that I own. so thank you. And then thanks to all the guys that I met from my county. I really appreciate your open arms that you extended toward me, and the welcoming, friendly nature of all of you. You guys are really a great group of inclusive people. So thank you guys for making me feel welcome and at home. And that's it. That's my wrap up for Light Fighter, and I'll see you all next year.